We're filming the team chants tonight. And because it's supposed to be something that like the teams just came up with on their own.
You are gonna get together with your team today and prepare for the team chant challenge tonight.
We've done something a little crazy.
We were just sent the chants, I'm not even kidding, 20 minutes ago.
That's why we get a little stressed out about situations like this.
Little crazy from a production standpoint.
She got at it.
I want to say thank you to you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is a special story. This is in my bones. So let's do it well. Let's tell it right. Each and every one of you are shades of me.
Alan mentioned to me many times that he if there was any character that he related to the most, it was Max. So it was always kind of like, we want to tell this story in the most authentic way possible. How are we going to make that happen? Specifically for Max, he was really focused on making it as authentic as possible because it's a lived experience that he's been through.
Everything is kind of pulled from my personal experience and Kaylee's personal experience and Cozy's for that matter. And for me, that's what makes it interesting. And hopefully there's a layer of authenticity under the singing and dancing. Chance is a great example.
Crimson angel soaring through the sky.
So here's the deal. We've done something a little crazy, like a little crazy from a production standpoint.
The Steves of the world, the people who knew what was going on, thought it was a little crazy.
Oh, the chants. In this particular situation, Alan had decided that he wanted the teams to come up with their own chants.
We are literally letting them just come up with the thing that they're gonna put on camera before we film it. So we're shooting in like an hour. Rain or shine, whatever they're coming up with, we're shooting it.
Which is insane. That's completely insane when you have a schedule.
It's insane even as I say it out loud.
We didn't even have a backup plan. We had no backup plan.
So we actually did this at my camps, where you get put on your teams, and like the first thing you did is you had like an hour to come up with a chant, and then we all got in a gymnasium together, and then every team went up one at a time, got graded and judged, and it was awesome. And that team was actually called Verde Maximus, or mine was. So this takes me back.
Cozy, myself, and Adam can go write the chants, and everybody kind of mimes to a pre-recorded thing, which I'm sure would have been cool. But I don't know, I just got really excited by this idea of having the creation of the chants have the same energy that the chants had like when I was a kid going to camp, which is we just came up with this. We're still rehearsing it right before you go on and perform it.
We're green, we're the green machine.
And that's exactly what happened on our show. So the day before, I told our leaders, like our camp leaders in the show, all right, I want you guys to create your chants with your team. And they're like,
me? What? We already finished the whole soundtrack. What are we, chants? What even is this?
It's like, no, the ones we're doing on the show tomorrow, you have to write it and choreograph it and perform it.
The chants really stressed me out. They really stressed me out.
It was so chaotic, but the most feeling of being at camp on any day that we were there, and I think that was intentional.
I wrote the Azure Apostles chant, Ava Jean wrote the Crimson Angels chant, and then Alan.
I wrote Verdes because I had to. I had to, meaning like I just personally had to.
Because his team growing up was Verde Maximus, so he feels too connected to not write that. And then they had all the dancers from each team come up with original choreo and try to beat each other at the game.
Today's team chants, and we were just sent the chants, I'm not even kidding, 20 minutes ago.
Alan texted us at 2:30 in the morning. And to put it into perspective, usually with a musical number or a dance number, we take weeks to create or perfect and rehearse and whatever. We got 1 hour?
If that.
That's why we get a little stressed out about situations like this.
3, 2, 1, team move!
All right, let's go check out the other group.
We groove it! Hey!
This team's pretty good. All right, so You guys have 8 people on your team.
Okay.
You have Max, Savannah, and Charlie. They're cooking. I think they might get a Michelin star for how good they're cooking out here. Did you get my joke? Like chef?
It was a really fun. It was stressful because, you know, usually you're all buttoned up and they've had these songs for a long time and they're rehearsed, and nope, not for the chance. They were literally still coming up with it right before we were filming. So
it was like a humiliation ritual. I was so stressed out during that entire process, and somehow it worked out.
it was risky for sure, because what if it's not good? What if they don't come up with anything? What if, you know? But I think it worked out. When Ava sent me the chant that she wrote for Crimson Angels, and it was so Savannah. This is deeper into production, so she'd been playing this character for a few weeks, and she didn't just write something that was cool that Ava liked. Like, she wrote what Savannah would write as a chant. And, you know, Cozy did the same for the Azure Apostles playing Lenny.
'Cause we're better and you know that's true. Love God, us too. Just wait till the apostles come through.
So I had a deeper understanding of just how invested they were in these characters and in this project and wherever we needed to go and whatever was best and most interesting and fun. And
they knew each other so well. And Alan was in the middle of all that, so he knew them all very well. And he trusted their instincts, and I trust Alan's instincts. So somehow it worked out.
That was a fun moment. It's a fun moment in the show, hopefully, but certainly a fun moment for us during production.
I was on the phone with Jordan. I told him, I said, man, I'm glad you like the pages, but just wait till you see what these actors are going to do with these words. And I said that, and I mean that. So let's do the thing.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Gonna have some fun, gonna catch some sun, week away.
Spielberg says casting is 90% of the job, and I agree. And every time you do a project, you hope you've got the right person in the role, and then you hope that when you get all of the people that you've cast together, that there's another thing that happens.
Casting is always the challenge. I mean, there's so many challenges along the way, but you get to the point to where you're casting, and it's another huge hurdle. It's one of the most critical pieces of all. We had some open slots, some pretty big roles up to the very, almost the last few weeks of pre-production. And the longer we waited to fill those roles, the less time they had to rehearse, learn the dance numbers, learn the songs, record the songs.
I am very excited to be in the room with all of you guys at the same time. I also get really excited as I think like everybody's journey, like to get here. I'll do a brief thing because I think it's awesome, and maybe you guys have me put this stuff together. But Beverly Holloway cast this show.
My name is Beverly Holloway, and I'm the casting director. The difficulty in casting a show like this is that you do need people who are skilled in multiple disciplines.
You have to find people who can do more than just act. They need to be able to sing and dance as well. So we're searching for triple threat talent.
To find those people who are at that level across the board is not easy. And then you add into that the puzzle that is the characters and how they need to fit together and complement each other, and that can be as simple as like, do the heights work? Do the hair colors work? You know, do we believe these two people are related? You have that on top of just the base talent level.
Sasha, man, you know, Sasha. We have a lot of mutual friends. I don't even know where I met you or saw you the first time, so either way, it all kind of like melds together in this, I love Sasha, and you want to be in the room with Sasha all the time. Same sort of thing, dude. You showed up, you did this torch, and like you just were Jake and are Jake, and we started writing Jake, and there was nobody we ever saw besides Jake, so we're so excited that you're here. We're grateful that you're here.
That's what I'm here for. Gonna have some fun. Come on, count it.
I had seen Sasha, I first met Sasha and Ava, for that matter, at a theater camp that my kid goes to, and we made a docu-series about. They just have a light, you know, they have an energy that comes off of them as creatives, and I never forgot that. So when we were writing and the Jake character popped up, I think I always just saw Sasha in that character.
Give me a second. I need to get the secret weapon.
Sasha does this thing where he's just such a kind human. It doesn't really matter what he says. It just comes across kind. It comes across in a way that you know he means well. And so there was a freedom in being able to write for Jake, and Jake could say some things and do some things that were very much like an antagonist.
That is awesome, but yeah, hear me out. How about you don't play the tuba?
But you knew they weren't going to come across like a mustache twirler. It's crazy how far you can push that.
That's what I'm here for. Gonna have some fun, gonna catch some sun.
This is Luke, everyone. Luke's. Dude, listen, it's so funny. Luke, it's a bit of a whirlwind.
The audition process, I think, really came down to the wire. So Charlie, in the beginning, when we have Matt as Max, and Matt's kind of this more broody guy, Charlie was supposed to be this like charming ladies' man, you know, going after Ro, and he's supposed to be this kind of funny, over-the-top swagger type character. When Matt was no longer part of the process and Antonio came in, we were like, okay, now Charlie has to change.
Well, casting the character of Charlie was a challenge for a couple of reasons. You have to be mindful that Antonio is Max. So we have to have a brother that at least is believable to be related to him. Challenge number 2 is, in a character like that, you don't want 2 leading men who somehow vie for that space. Not that the actors would ever be competitive, because they aren't. That's just not their nature. But the screen, the camera, the audience wouldn't kind of put them in the same category.
So Alan saw Luke perform at his daughter's theater camp and was like, I think that could be the guy.
I had seen Luke in 2 or 3 local theater productions, like at the local theater company that my kid is a part of, my kids are a part of. And we had just made the decision to combine 2 characters that were in the show into one character and make it Max's little brother named Charlie. And so I needed this character, and I went and saw this show, and he was so warm and made me care. And I remember talking to his dad afterwards and saying, you know, I've got this thing I'd love to see him for. They were kind enough to follow up, you know, allow me to follow up and stay committed. And it was like the next day, I was on the phone with Luke, telling him about this part. And he was like, yeah, whatever you need. He'd never auditioned for anything before. He's a theater kid, still is a theater kid. And I sent him the sides, and he sent me his audition. And I was here in this room with Adam at that desk.
We were there at Alan's space, and we were working on figuring out how to take the hell of it and it as well and put them together. So we were sitting there with guitars and going crazy and trying to figure out how to mesh those 2 things together. And then he's like, an audition tape just came in. And I'm like, from who?
Hi, I'm Nico Zipshawn. I am 18 years old, and I will be reading for the part of Charlie.
I watched it, and it's, you know, 2 or 3 scenes. We didn't say anything.
Yeah, he's kind of like the main guy. I'm Charlie, his role model.
Within 2 seconds, I started just cracking up.
But it was so just different. And I'd seen a number of Charlies and wasn't what I had seen before. And I remember I said some version of like, I feel like, was that great? Like I think that was great, wasn't it? But the reason I wasn't sure, for lack of a better term, is only because it wasn't like polished.
Oh yeah, I forgive you. You know, Grace and all that.
Like he'd never auditioned for anything before. He's a theater kid. And I already knew that I loved him because I'd seen him in a few shows. But when I looked over and I was like, that was great, right? And he was like,
it's maybe better. Like he's Charlie. I'm like, yeah, we found him.
I'm sitting there with Adam in the studio, and it stops both of us in our tracks because we were in stitches in the first scene.
That was off the top of his head. Top of his head.
Like I was laughing so hard. But then in that next scene, man, when you were having a heart-to-heart.
You said some super messed up stuff, and I think she believes it.
I just kind of knew in that moment that this was probably the way that we were going to go.
And now it's like, I'm calling him.
He essentially did his kind of FaceTime callback right there with me a few moments later.
And he's just like, oh, hey, Alan.
So he sang like some Bruno Mars for us or something on that FaceTime.
No hesitation, just singing a thing from Wicked, singing a thing from this, singing a thing from that.
So we passed that part, and I was like, hey, can you come to because we were already in pre-production. Can you come to the camp tomorrow and read with Antonio?
He came in and did a chemistry read with Antonio.
Why? We're gonna have a blast. It's gonna suck. Oh, totally. You said some super messed up stuff, and I think she believes it. I wasn't trying to hurt her, okay?
And just their dynamic as brothers was just very natural and easy.
2 days ago, he didn't know what this thing was, and 2 days later, he's at a camp reading. He did know who Antonio was, reading with this guy who he'd seen on Broadway and seen a bunch of videos with, but was great and was willing to jump in and brought so much heart to the character and to the show, for that matter.
There's a lot of people around this table who have done this a lot. We're all here for you, but you're here because you deserve. We read a lot. We looked at a lot of people. So I just want you to know that, dude, in shocking fashion for everyone, here you are. We're here for you. We want you to go in and do what you do and nothing else. So I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah. We found Charlie. We can move on.
I couldn't agree more. Really? Sure. Just the joy of watching everybody else pray. That kind of sounded bad.
Ava Jean playing Savannah was a little bit more. Yes, I had seen her at the theater camp, and so I was excited to see her audition.
Hey, my name is Ava Jean. I'm located in Los Angeles.
I met Ava Jean when we did 1,300 Miles of Broadway, the documentary. 2 years, whatever it was, a couple of summers ago.
But she had done so much growing in the subsequent 2 years after I'd seen her as an actor, and it kind of blew me away. And there's, one scene, you typically do, 2 or 3 scenes for main cast, and they have specific purposes. And one specific purpose for one of Savannah's scenes was to show us the mean girl side of that character. And can you be funny and yet somehow likable when you're saying these ridiculous things?
I'm looking for who's got the best origin story. The more unhinged, the better. You got trauma? Dump it. Go.
There were sides of her that, I was like, oh my gosh, especially with just a look.
Certainly when we were looking for this role, I'll be honest with you, I was like, but she's so nice. But your tape wasn't.
She has moments, where there's zero dialogue, where she has to do a lot with her eyes and a look, and they really relied on that, and she delivered in ways that were just stunning to me.
And it would be weird because, we'd be shooting and she would be manipulative and mean. And then, we'd cut and she'd come over and sit behind the monitors, and she's literally the nicest person ever. Just ever. It's so impressive.
And she made some choices in that audition that nobody else was bold enough to make. And I, had seen who knows how many tapes at that point and watched her tape, and she made me laugh out loud, even after I'd heard these lines, dozens of times.
Is there a custody battle?
No.
Nice try. You.
When I forgot to clean my room, my dad used to, he used to
hit you?
So there's a moment in her initial audition, and Ava just made this choice. She's got a clipboard, which was already an interesting choice. And I remember she hit herself in the head.
You guys are kidding me with this.
With this clipboard. I'll never forget, I was watching it with my, with Presley, my second, and watching some of these tapes, and then we get to Ava's and she's doing this thing, and both Presley and I just laughed out loud. Even though we had seen, 5 or 10 auditions in a row, she really made us kind of sit up and laugh and see the lines in a new way.
Finding a villain is always really, really difficult. This one was even more challenging because she had to have shades. She couldn't just be all bad. She had to be vulnerable. She had to be likable at times, but also manipulative and a little catty at times too. So it was a big role.
I don't think that Savannah is an easy thing. The Regina George thing and whatever. Yeah, you could do that, and we will do that, but we have to have a person living underneath, and that's a difficult thing that I'm really excited to see you do.
As somebody who's done this for a while, to see a young actress be able to pull off what she pulled off, I could not be more impressed with who she is and what she's doing.
Haven, I don't know why, the first time that we were typing this show and we wrote this role, I just typed Haven. I don't even know, obviously I knew of you, I've known your mom really well, so I've been tangentially connected and been following you for a long time, but there was something about this character even before we named her Ro that just was always you. And so then you showed up in the torch and we're amazing.
I can't be without my phone. I'm trying to build something here.
And Ro is just she's so warm and so funny. Just like her ability to be both likable and sarcastic and just that whole thing, irreverent, all of that. And she has a lot of moments too where it's like we rely on her to just kind of go and have that not be campy and weird, but like we believe that she's that.
Sure, you're a great dancer. And we're gonna use it and we're gonna highlight it.
I've been following Haven's dance career for a while, unbelievably talented dancer, and I knew her, but just following her story creatively and watching her do her thing, for some reason when I created that character and typed the character the first time, I just saw Haven and typed Haven and then changed the name of the character to be one of my kids' names.
But you deserve to be here as an actor and as a singer and as somebody who is embodying a role that I named after one of my kids, and I'm so grateful that you're bringing what you bring to it. So good luck keeping up with her during the musical numbers, guys, but she's gonna bring something really special. We're glad that you're here. Thanks.
For those characters, our adult characters, like they're at the top of their game with regards to comedy, and they're just, some of the best in the industry. So it's just stellar. It's stellar. We have a great cast.
Lee Allen Baker, I've known him like so many people for a long, long time, and some of the work, playing the mom in Good Luck Charlie, and we've had mutual friends for a while. Once the Carla character became what she is, I was always writing with Lee Allen Baker in mind, and she was kind enough to come and lend her amazing talents to the role. David we had in the film. Steve, my partner Steve, is good friends with Dave, so it's the only reason we were able to get him in the movie. I mean, who doesn't know? Dave Koechner's, Champ Kind and Anchorman and Todd Packer in The Office, and the list goes on and on. So his willingness to bring that level of professionalism and comedy, and heart for that matter, to the film really elevated that movie, in my opinion, and we're so grateful that he was willing to come back and play the same character for us in the show. Carlos Pinavega now is a friend of mine, but I knew through we had a mutual friend, and he's in Big Time Rush, and I've been a fan of his as an artist for a long time, and knowing that he resonated with the faith aspect of this, and is a man of faith himself, and a great human, and a great husband, and a great father, and a good artist. When we created the character of Jeremy in the Torch, it was originally played by Lecrae, and Lecrae was great in the Torch for us, but because of just schedule, and he's putting out a record and stuff, he wasn't able to come back and do the show. Carlos he did me a solid. He showed up and he played the foster dad in the original Torch, and the plan was I was going to bolster that character, and he and the foster dad's wife, played by his wife Alexa Pinavega, were going to come and be a part of the show in that capacity. When I lost Lecrae, we just made some creative adjustments and asked Carlos if he would come play the role of Jeremy the camp pastor, and he came and played ball for us and played Jeremy and did it exceptionally well. Jason Marsden, man, who's not a fan of Jason Marsden? Boy Meets World, I grew up on. Step by Step, I grew up on, and most notably, in my personal opinion, and importantly, to be the voice of Max in a Goofy movie, which I just think is one of the best animated musicals ever. He's here in Nashville, he's local, and I've met him a couple of times. We've been in a couple of acting classes together, and on the first time we created character, it wasn't named Bog, Kronk. It was named Kronk because it's what I do. To keep it like exactly what I want it to be in my mind and write for it, I keep it with the person and or character that is influencing it. And Kronk was the side character in Emperor's New Groove, and I just wanted a Kronk, so we called him Kronk forever. And then obviously we can't call him Kronk, so we had to change the name. But Kronk was originally what Kronk is in Emperor's New Groove, this big guy, this big, burly, like super strong, and it stayed that way. And then if you know of Jason Marsden, this is not a secret, he is not a big guy, 5'1", 5'2", but he sent in his audition.
What's happening? Jason Marsden here. I am 5 foot 1 inches tall. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I am over 18 years old.
And it was hilarious.
Kronk,
Yes, ma'am.
find out who did this.
Absolutely.
And when you do, you know what to do. What? No, bring them to me.
So you kill him. We saw some good tapes for it, but it was, I mean, honestly, it was just, it wasn't even, it was one of those like, this isn't even close.
That's what I'm here for. Just to play. That's what I'm here for. Gonna rock like stars. Gonna change somehow. Lead the way. That's what I'm here for.
Cozy had auditioned for me a couple of times in previous years. Of course, she comes from the Dolphin Tale movies and Freaky Friday, you know, Disney Channel and all of that, and just incredibly talented. But Cozy, beyond that, just has this heart and this spirit, and I just knew we were going to work together. And so when this project started coming up and was talking to Alan, I said, you have to check out this actress named Cozy Zulsdorf.
She has not shut up about Cozy Zulsdorf for like 6 or 7 years now. And then what happened was we were shooting The Torch. At some point I was like, man, we really need this like sort of thing where, you know, Lenny would say this sort of thing, you know, what do you think? And then about 5 minutes later, because this is what she does, she sends me this note with this monologue that she'd written, and I said, well, just say that, don't change anything about it.
What she sent us was so good, and Alan called me and was like, hey, I think Cozy should be a writer on the show. How do you feel about that? And I was like, bring her in.
It was just, I will never forget that phone call. It meant so much to me. And particularly at the time in my life, I recently opened up about something I'm very private about, which is my struggle with endometriosis over the course of my life.
It was hard to see Cozy go through her health issues, mostly because I just care about her as a human, obviously, and you don't want anybody who you love and care about to be dealing with those, with anything that's difficult.
I've had 2 major surgeries for it, one in 2020 and one in 2024. I was staying at my parents' house during recovery and moving around with a walker, hobbling around the house, pulling together a makeshift studio in my parents' house and writing to distract from the literal pain I was in. And so getting that call came right at the axis of starting to feel better and seeing the promise for the rest of my life and then the excitement of healing and recovery and pouring what I had been through into the show.
I'll never know what that meant and how deep she had to dig and how difficult it was for her, but what I do know is that I'm grateful for the effort that she put in, and that it didn't affect us negatively. We were able to complete the show and do it well, and it was already on a impossible timeline, and do that with a lead who is also dealing with the health issues that she's dealing with. It just really speaks to her strength and resilience. The difference between Lenny and Cozy sometimes was drastic. She's in the middle of a take in a musical number where she's running around and singing and being excited and happy, and then we call cut, and she doesn't literally collapse and just wait for the next take, but there's this feeling of she just gave everything she had physically in that moment. She needs to recharge for a second. She's not filled up enough yet, and she's got to go again, and she did. Again, it's very impressive, and we're very grateful for it.
Something here that I can't explain says my life is about to change. Same old place, but it feels brand new. God, what are you up to?
And I'm really grateful for, and this is true of all of you guys, like, we can put, hopefully we're not putting 2-dimensional characters on the page, but we can put versions of the characters that people are quote unquote used to, which we start kind of early, but we can do it because we know that the people who would fill in those roles are gonna fill it with humans. And all of you guys have done that, which is why you're all sitting here.
There's something in the air, so close I can taste it, sweet as a lavender sky. I'm flying on a prayer, I'm so gonna chase it, catch it like a firefly. It feels like the truth and it feels like a dare. If it hurts me or helps me, I know I won't care. There's something in the air.
Guys, I'm stoked. Starting Wednesday, December the 10th, we're going to put every episode of the Docu-series on YouTube. What's the Docu-series? Great question. It takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of
overcoming what feel like insurmountable problems to be able to make a series like this in the amount of time that we had to make it. Fortunately, we were rolling cameras the whole time, so we put all that footage together and we are telling the story of how we made the series. It's its own standalone series. It's called A Week Away, the Docu-series, and we hope that you enjoy it. I know I would really like it as a filmmaker, and it's interesting to me. Maybe it's interesting to you. So if you love the series, I think you'll enjoy seeing how we brought it together. If you love just watching how creativity happens, I think you'll enjoy watching the docu-series as well. And starting on Wednesday, December the 10th, we're putting that on YouTube, 1 episode a week. Watch it there, like, comment, subscribe, because we're gonna have more episodes coming every week. Tell all your family, tell all your friends, tell the strangers on the street. Watch it 17,000 times yourself. You understand, you get it, you know the assignment. All right, well, I'll see you guys over there. Peace.